434379. 800-343-4379. That's 800-343-4379.
Not all benefits listed may be available on all plans or in a single benefit package. Enrollment in the described of the year unless you qualify for a special enrollment period. No obligation to enroll.
With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Wednesday, May 13th, the 134th day of the year. Musician Stevie Wonder has a birthday. Dogs and their super-sensitive smellers are ideal for tracking all kinds of harmful stuff, from drugs to explosives. Now there's evidence that those cold-nosed detectives can sniff out crop disease almost before it's begun. Initial research from citrus orchards show the four-legged sleuths can identify bacteria-infested plants with 95% accuracy, sometimes months before it shows up on leaves and roots. What's more, the canines are faster, cheaper, and more accurate than hundreds of hours of lab analysis. The breakthrough in early detection may be critical in nipping epidemics in the bud. That is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. Learn more at almanac.com.
WOON Woonsocket, with great music just for you. News, weather, and coffee and two. WOON Woonsocket.
Hi, I'm Paul Eno. Ghosts, poltergeists, UFOs, Bigfoot, and weird phenomena that don't even have names yet.
And I'm Ben Eno. Every Sunday from noon to 1 p.m. here on ON 1240, get a whole new look at the weird world we live in on Behind the Paranormal with Paul and Ben Eno.
Every week we bring you the world's greatest experts and most amazing experiencers, from PhDs to abductees.
And you'll see soon that explaining the paranormal isn't the problem, it's handling the explanation.
Be there.
Coming up next. Greatest Hits USA.
Hey, this is Chuck Matthews on Greatest Hits USA, and coming up this weekend, we're going to answer the following questions. Who recorded a song in a chapel? What singer got an idea from his zodiac sign? And who had the #1 record this week in 1975? So turn it up this weekend right here.
Greatest Hits USA.
Rhode Island Governor Gina Raimondo was asked Wednesday during her news conference if she foresees a policy of mandatory 2-week quarantines for out-of-state visitors in response to the coronavirus carrying on into the summer. Raimondo said she didn't think so, but she doesn't know for sure yet. One possible way to address this, the governor talked about yesterday, was test all tourists, but she said her administration is looking into whether there's enough capacity to.
Good morning, and welcome to Coffee and, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question to the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email at joe@onesocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee and panel on ON 1240, WOON One-Socket Radio.
And a good morning, and welcome into Coffee Ann on ON Radio, 1240 AM, 99.5 FM. This is Joe Callahan. Thank you for joining us this morning. On the phone, joining us on the Coffee Ann program today, let's say good morning to Attorney Bob Lotter. Good morning to you, Bob.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Well, it's good to see you as well, Bob. It's always good to see you. Even if I can't really see you, of course. And we're going to be joined today, Bob, by Woonsocket Mayor Lisa Baldelli Hunt. She is not on the phone just yet, but she will be just as soon as possible. So it's me and you for a little while, and I got something to pass along to you. All right?
Uh-oh.
It's got nothing to do with the law, by the way.
Oh, good.
So now I just gotta find it. Hang on. All right. See, we had a message that was emailed in. And you can call in your comments and questions at 766-1240 or email them in to me, Joe, at onesocket.radio.com. This came in last night. And it just says from the writer, the mask and restrictions, there's something that must be realized with this pandemic and today's people. The generation of 20 years past and this present generation are insufferable and are incredibly defiant to laws that are not put into action that will affect them monetarily or being arrested. Having said this, they will not comply and will ignore petty restrictions, and they certainly are comfortable and will pacify with COVID-19 and believing that this will not happen to me, hence I am invincible. People listened and cooperated with the lay of the law in the 1950s through the 1980s. Today, they are rude, arrogant, and filled with "you can't tell me what to do." Are you noticing that, Bob? It's just it's different this time around.
Well, what I see is, of course, only what's in the media because I'm self-isolating. I don't go out in public, so I don't, really experience what the caller is talking about. But I think the caller is right in some regard and maybe overlooking things in other regards. I think that there are a minority of people in the country who are openly defiant of the various rules and regulations that have been put into an emergency basis and a temporary basis. I see the news articles about armed individuals standing outside of various stores in places like Texas to try and make sure that the store can remain open, even though it's in violation of the laws or the rules that are in place down there. And that is troubling. But as for whether or not it's just this generation, I think that time clouds what we may remember. And back in the 1960s, when we were having a great deal of civil rights activity, there were people at that time who were defiant of what the laws of the land were saying. The law of the land was saying that we should have school integration. And yet we can remember the strikes that they had down at Ole Miss, the University of Mississippi. We can remember Governor Orville Forbes, who was standing at the university gate saying, no, if you are of a ethnic origin other than white, you cannot come in. But those were things that were openly defiant, just like they are now.
Sure.
In the late 1960s, we had a great deal of open defiance about the country's position on the war in Vietnam. And so it's not just now. It actually takes place at a lot of times in our past. But I think the caller is right. I think there is a defiance to the laws right now, and I'm not sure that that's really in our overall collective best interest. I know that people are saying, well, I'm standing up for my constitutional right. And quite frankly, they may be. There's an article in today's journal which talks about former Chief Justice Flanders. Apparently he is considering running again for Senate. And he has come out with a memorandum that he says the governor has exceeded her authority in some of the shutdowns that she has imposed here in the state of Rhode Island. Now, I haven't read the memo to see what the legal basis of his argument is, but there's that going on as well. So I don't think that – I think there are people who are being defiant on the laws, and I think it's unfortunate because in this case, according to the CDC, it's going to have some serious ramifications for the rest of us, and that's unfortunate.
Okay, Bob, and just another follow-up note on that. Now, I know you don't practice law in the state of New York, so I don't expect you to be up on all the laws in the state of New York. But this was brought up earlier today, something that's going on in the Buffalo area, and they're saying that if you're caught without wearing a mask going into a store, you could be fined $500, and on the other side, if you own the business and you serve someone in a liquor store or a small business store and you serve them, and if the customer's not wearing a mask, your business license can be pulled. Now, the question goes to you, Bob. How legal is that?
I cannot tell you because I haven't done the research on it, Joe.
Yeah.
But
have you heard of this being?
Well, you have the the states and the government have the authority to make rules regarding how things are, how you conduct business. They have rules that have been, laws that have been put into effect since back in the 1960s, anti-discrimination laws. You cannot operate a business and say, I am not going to provide services to a particular group of people. I cannot discriminate against African Americans. In my motel, they have just as much right to come in and rent a room as do Caucasian Americans. So the law does control how you operate your business. And I think it depends on how the law was put into effect as to whether or not it's going to be enforceable. Basically, that is it. As for Good. The mayor's here? Wonderful.
The mayor is on the phone. Good morning to you, Lisa Baldelli Hunt.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, everyone. How is everyone today?
I'm doing okay. Bob, you?
I'm doing fine, but I understand you have really good news for all of us.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
I have very good news.
Big story in the front page of today's call about the budget. Go ahead and give us your take on it, Mayor.
Well, I guess we all need a little bit of good news, right?
Yeah.
Good news is a good thing. So, yes, I needed to present the budget from the administration by the 12th of May, which we did, and that budget contains a 1% tax decrease for the commercial tax rate and also for the residential tax rate. So we're really happy about that. I think it's there's certainly challenging times right now, but this was the year that maybe we needed to just forego some things that, although we may feel they're important and they're helpful in the progress of the city, it was time to just take a little bit of a pause. We can always go back. We can review the budget during the year once things hopefully settle down and we return to some normalcy within the state and across the country and within our city. So that doesn't mean that we can't go back and make some amendments. But as you know, it goes to the city council, and they will be they'll be reviewing what we submitted, and they will have their opportunity to make any amendments that they're looking to make, as long as they have the support to do it.
How did you reduce or eliminate from the budget to get this kind of result?
Well, a few things. So first of all, we made cuts across any area, any line item that we could. So generally, I like to budget more in blight removal or, I think last year we started out budgeting road repair at $700,000. So we just went into each department and made cuts across the board. We moved some funding that we would generally fund from the general fund, and we're funding it through our community development block grant funding, which is we're allowed to do, and it's a qualifying expense. And we also have had, great momentum in the city with people having interest in developing here or moving in to the community from a business standpoint. So we've had a significant, I would say, significant amount of home development also. And we're busy. I think in 2019 we had over 700 permits pulled in our inspection department. That tells you that there is work happening in this city, and we're on track to exceed that this year.
That's 700, Lisa. Is that all for new construction or just
no, for repairs, improvements, new construction? So we have several housing developments that are underway now in the city. In fact, that would actually be a really great story, and hopefully one of the newspapers will pick up on that, because we do have several developments that are underway right now.
Okay. And I hope you don't get any pushback on this whole thing, because I can just picture it, Mayor, that some people are just going to look at it and go, well, big deal. It's a 1% reduction. But isn't that better than a 1% increase? I mean, that's the way I look at it. Any reduction is good.
Well, first of all, let's recognize something. There are not many municipalities that are reducing taxes. Okay. And my feeling is that you have to, as the leader of a municipality, you have to look at the taxpayer dollars, and you have to utilize those in the best fashion and responsible fashion, because you have to treat it like it's your own money, like you're digging into your own savings and your spending. So you just can't be frivolous with how you spend taxpayer money. So we are very, very cautious of how we spend the money, and we want to make certain that at this point in time, yes, we could have, I could have moved forward and said we're just going to keep the tax rates the way they are. And a lot of people have said, you know what, we were just hoping that they didn't really go up all that much. And, some other folks had said, we were just hoping that they stayed the same. So when you look at other municipalities that are needing to raise their taxes, and I'm not criticizing them. Yeah. Every municipality has a different situation, but reducing taxes by any amount is a really good thing. It's cause for like a celebration, I would say. I mean, if I get a tax bill in the mail and my taxes go down 1%, I'm happy because they could have stayed the same. They could have gone up 10%, 4%. They could have gone up 3%. So whatever the case is, that, yes, you're right, there will be people who say, and it was interesting because one girl said, oh, big deal, the taxes went down 1%. Yeah. Well, come to find out, she doesn't even pay taxes in the city, right? So I guess you don't understand the benefit of your taxes going down 1%. And, like someone else said, the amount that my taxes will go down, I'm taking my wife out to dinner twice more in this particular year. So, everybody equates the savings to something different. But the bottom line is we've been working really hard over the last 6 years to have an attractive tax rate, across the board. But in particular, you want home ownership in your municipality. You want people to be able to feel that they can afford a home, they take pride in their home, and home ownership, owner-occupied home ownership is very important to a community, and it's important to families. So we've been able to create a residential tax rate that has had an uptick in home ownership in the city. And that's important because, I think for the most part, when someone owns their own home, they're very cognizant of how it looks and if it needs repairs. So I find home ownership is better than having ownership from folks who live outside of the state because they're not around as much. When you live in your house, you come home to it every day, right? And you see what it looks like. You know when the grass needs to be cut. So the increase in home ownership is very important. And the commercial tax rate has historically been high in the city. And incrementally, we've been reducing that. And over the years, as you know, I've been an advocate. I think after my first year in office, when we could get a handle as to what the economic development map looked like in the city, I thought it was important to have a director of economic development. I still do. I have not had support from councils in the past, and putting that in the budget is just something that generally gets cut. So they'd like to put that back in. I'd be more than happy because you need to have staff who are promoting the community. The mayor can promote the community, but you need to have the staff and resources in order to promote the community, in order to give attention to the investor, in order to have the ears and eyes out there and, feet on the ground and working with people that you learn are looking for a location. That's what they're doing in Pawtucket, in Central Falls, in other areas. Those mayors have staff out there. When they learn that there's a potential company that has interest, they're out there. They're trying to solidify that particular entity comes to their municipality. So, the old saying, penny wise and dollar foolish, you need to promote your community. You need to market your community. And we do everything we can with the resources we have. But I've always been convinced that we could do even more if we had the proper staffing to do that. And, it's important. But I'm thrilled. We have, a company that's looking to move into the city from Franklin, Mass.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. But we got to take a break first.
Take a break.
Okay. More coffee coming up, and if you have a comment or question for the mayor, please give us a call. It's 661240 or email it to me, joe@woonsocketradio.com.
I'm here with Kara Benjamin of the Benjamin Insurance Agency. What types of insurance do you provide?
If you come see me, Kara, I will help you review and protect the most important assets in your life. We offer protection for personal lines and business lines of insurance in Rhode Island and Massachusetts. My mother, Celeste, will help you plan for retirement and assist you with protecting your family by providing life insurance.
You're in good hands with Allstate and Kara and Celeste Benjamin of the Benjamin Insurance Agency, 125 Eddie Dowling Highway, across from Dowling Village in North Smithfield, 765-5000.
Our business is truly a referral business, and we have built it based on our premier service level and commitment to what we do. If you are looking for personalized service with people who care, that would be us.
Kathy at the Honey Shop reminds you that they have face shields made in the USA that are sanitizable for full face protection and easier breathing, which will come in handy, especially as the warmer weather approaches. The Honey Shop also has multi-layered fabric masks, also made in the USA, and handcrafted masks made right here in Woonsocket. And arriving soon to the Honey Shop, KN95 masks, and our next batch of hand and surface sanitizing spray will be Ocean Breeze fragranced. The Honey Shop, 2 locations in Woonsocket, 6 Winthrop Street and 1300 Park Avenue. The Honey Shop.
Chan's Fine Oriental Dining is well recognized as a major dining and entertainment venue in Rhode Island, the Northeast, and beyond. Patrons can choose from an excellent selection of Oriental cuisine, including popular combination dishes, lo mein and noodle dishes, vegetarian entrees, and seafood. Chan's also offers traditional favorites like 10 varieties of their unique fried rice, chow mein, chop suey, and poo-poo platters. Be sure to check their outstanding jazz, blues, folk, and comedy performers. Chan's at 267 Main Street, Woonsocket, 765-1900.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
ON Radio.
It's Coffee and on ON Radio. This is Joe Callahan here with attorney Bob Lauder. Still with us, Bob?
Yes, I am.
Very good. And Woonsocket Mayor Lisa Baldelli Hunt is with us as well. Good morning to you, Mayor.
Good morning.
And as we mentioned before we went to break, a new company is going to be moving in from Franklin, Massachusetts into Woonsocket. The company is called Resch Manufacturing. And will they be building a brand new building when they come to town, Lisa?
Yes, sir. So they will be building an approximate 65,000 square foot manufacturing plant. About 5,000 square feet of that new construction will be a 2-story office space. Will be 2 stories of office space for them, and they are it's really an interesting thing because not only are they moving from Franklin, Mass, to Woonsocket, they'll be building at the base of Highland Corporate Park, behind the Cumberland Farms area, but the actual owner of the company lives in Woonsocket.
No kidding. Is he originally from Woonsocket?
I believe he moved here in the 1990s. So, close to, 25 years or so.
Okay.
So I think that's really, to me, that's very interesting. Oftentimes, you're dealing with people who own companies, but they don't necessarily live within your community. So he resides here. He owns a home here, he and his family, and they're in Franklin, Mass. So they're moving here from another state. I know we talk about, companies moving from one city or town to another within the state, and it's just kind of like shuffling things around. But this is actually coming in from another state, is a resident of the city, is new construction, and a 65,000 square foot building is a significant sized building. That is, just the building itself is like the equivalent to an acre and a half of land. So it's nice, it's encouraging, it's proof that we have a really good team here within City Hall who work in a fashion to make certain that when we have an opportunity like this, that we are paying close attention to try to solidify that deal and move forward with a project of this magnitude, because it's not easy. Everybody is, trying to bring folks into their community, companies to locate within their community. So this is a huge success, and I am extremely appreciative to Mr. Langley for choosing the city of Woonsocket, and to the team here within City Hall who has given them the attention that they so deserve.
Do they have an estimated time, Mayor, of when they want to have this building built and when they can start moving in?
They would like to start construction this year, later on toward the end of the summer, and be in the building in 2021.
Okay.
This is, it's a large construction project, so they'll be building, for a while.
Okay. What does Resch Manufacturing do? What do they manufacture?
So they're in the sheet metal business.
Okay.
So it's a very clean operation, and right now they are in space in Franklin that is leased. So this will create home ownership. I guess it is home ownership, right?
Yeah. Well, for the owner, yeah.
Right. So they're in the sheet metal fabricating business.
Okay. Did they first come to the city looking for space, or did you hear about them from another entity?
I had a conversation with Mr. Langley, and he was looking at land in other communities also.
Sure.
And he was sort of leaning toward another community. And Scott Gibbs has been working alongside me with this, pertaining to this project, along with, our building official and others. And, it seemed as though they would probably be locating in another community in Rhode Island. And I just, informed Mr. Langley that if for some reason anything didn't quite work out over there, that, I'd really like to reignite that conversation. And just, followed up with him again. Follow-up is important. And we, learned that it wasn't really going according to plan at the other location. So we pulled it all together, and here we are.
How many jobs are at this manufacturing facility now in Franklin, and do they plan on adding more when they come to Woonsocket? Well, first of all, he's been in business for over 30 years, so it's a well-established business, and they employ approximately 35 people. About 1/3 of the folks who work there are Woonsocket residents. Okay.
Right, and like I had mentioned, they're a precision sheet metal fabrication company. Machining, engineering, and design services is what they provide. So it's just really encouraging. So they have their everything in place, and the building is going to be constructed by Bowerman Associates, which is out of Providence, and we're really looking forward to this. So it's a great thing.
The employees there must be happy to know that a building will be built in Woonsocket. The ones that live in Woonsocket and say,
exactly.
Look at the commute time cut down to 5 minutes.
Right, and I had, when I would speak with the owner, I would say, don't you rather have your company right within the own community where you live? Yeah. And it anyway, ultimately here we are, and it's a great thing. So I also want to thank Rhode Island Commerce Corp. We had applied for a grant to underwrite some of the engineering and permitting costs for that particular site, and we were successful in getting a grant for just under $50,000. So EDFRI, which is the Economic Development Foundation of Rhode Island, and the city, we partnered in applying for that grant, which is called a Site Readiness Grant through the Commerce Corp. And that grant, I think it was like $48,500. Those funds are being used to help with some of the engineering and permitting costs to bring the parcel to the point where, so even though we have all this commitment, when you think about what needs to happen in order to build any type of building, and certainly one of that size, you still have to go through a lot of hoops to get there. So we're still jumping through hoops, but we're going to keep jumping.
All right, very good. Before we have to take our next break, I just wanted to bring this up. You had the pleasure a week or so ago of swearing in new police officers here in the city of Woonsocket.
Yes, we did.
5 new officers, correct?
5 new officers, and it's the first time we've ever had to do a swearing in where no one could be in attendance other than the new officers and a few of us. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's great. We talked to the chief earlier. He always likes having the new people come on. He's trying to get to 100% capacity, but that's all budgeting and things like that. But he's happy to have the new recruits on his staff.
Yeah, we're all happy. So congratulations to them. And at some point in time, like we had indicated to them, we will circle back and although they're already sworn in, we'll do a second quote unquote swearing in. In order so their family can be there and they can get pinned by whomever they choose and kind of turn the clock back and get that done for them because it's a big moment for them.
Sure, that would be a great idea. All right, we're going to take a break here on the Coffee and program. Once again, comments and questions for the mayor can be called in, 766-1240, or email them in to me, joe@woonsocketradio.com. More coming up. Stay tuned.
Navigant Credit Union would like to take this time to say thank you to all the wonderful men and women who are working every day at Landmark Medical Center. This week is National Hospital Week, and Landmark Medical Center stands with more than 5,000 other U.S. hospitals in providing quality patient care to all. ON Radio and Navigant Credit Union salute the workers at our local hospital. Visit Navigant Credit Union online at navigantcu.org.
Is your business struggling to be found on Google? Are you still trying to figure out how Facebook works? Are you wasting your money on social media? Do you just need more customers? If you do, then contact the local digital marketing team at Breeze Digital Media in Lincoln. Breeze Digital Media has programs that are approved by Google and Facebook and are designed to grow your business. Packages start at only $199 a month and include easy monthly reporting so you know where your investment is going. Contact Breeze Digital Media for a free marketing analysis of your business today. Call 401-334-9555, extension 154, anytime, or visit breezedigitalmedia.com/offer.
Hello, this is Manny Brando.
And this is Virginia. And Manny, now you have to start getting up a half hour earlier because our show is going to begin at 8:30 until 9:30.
I can't get up that early. 8:30 to 9:30. Oh,
That
no.
is correct. That is our new time slot.
I'm confused.
What else is new?
Oh, boy.
Time for the forecast on the Coffee and program, and the forecast is being brought to you by Compassion International. Today, sunny skies and pretty warm. High will be near 74. Tonight, cloudy skies and a possibility of showers, low around 49. Friday, a cloudy day, showers likely throughout the day, high near 74. Friday night, mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and a low temperature around 56. Weekend looks nice. Saturday, partly sunny, high near 68. Sunday, mostly sunny and a high near 67. And currently, outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street, we have 55 degrees. You can change the world for a child in extreme poverty through Compassion International. Just text CHILD to 83393 to find out how. We welcome you back to the Coffee and program, and this segment of the Coffee and program is sponsored by Attorney Bob Lauder. So, Bob, let's get a first message from your law office, please.
Good morning. I'd like to repeat an advisory sent to my office this week by the Rhode Island Legal Services, Inc. As the economic implications of COVID-19 pandemic widen, low-income individuals and families face an even greater degree of food insecurity. Fortunately, some emergency programs have been put in place to assist low-income individuals and families in securing food. Children who get free or reduced-priced lunches at schools in Rhode Island are eligible for these benefits, even if they're not already registered in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, known as SNAP, and they do not have to be United States citizens. Each eligible child will receive $119.70 total for the months of March and April, and $74.10 for the month of June. This makes up for the meals they would have had in school. The children have 3 months to use these benefits. Those children who are already on SNAP will automatically have the extra money added to their EBT cards for 3 months. Children not already on the SNAP program will each get a special pandemic EBT card to use. The cards will be mailed out in the name of each eligible child to the address of the child on file with the child's school. The card should arrive in white envelopes. Return address is FIS during the first 2 weeks of May. There's a phone number on the back of the card that parents must call to activate the card. Parents will need the EBT number from the front of the card, the home zip code, and the name and birth date of the child on the card. If you need help in this matter, or with Medicaid, SSI, Social Security, or other governmental benefits, the Providence office of the Rhode Island Legal Services can be reached at 401-274-2652. If you think my office may be of assistance to you in other types of legal matters, please call my office for a telephone conference. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer: the Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
Bob, are you hearing when the courts might reopen in the state of Rhode Island? Are they part of Phase 2 or Phase 3, or haven't you heard?
The last I saw as a announcement from the Supreme Court was that they were closed through the end of this week. Now, I had cases that were originally scheduled to start in the following week, on the 20th of May, and the court has given us a notice that those cases have been pushed off to a further date. One of our cases was moved from the 20th of May up to the 30th of July. So I don't know exactly what is happening. I would suggest that if you are involved in a particular case, you contact your lawyer, and he can check with the court calendar system and see whether or not your case is starting again or if it's being pushed off into the future.
All right, very good. Mayor, we got the press release 2 days ago, I believe, about, or maybe it was yesterday, about the COVID-19 testing that Thunder Mist Health is doing down on Social Street. Is this something where Thunder Mist came to you and said we really need to ramp up the testing here in the city of Woonsocket?
Actually, each day the mayors and town administrators have a conference call with the governor's office, and we have a daily conference call with the Rhode Island League of Cities and Towns. Right now we're actually it was daily with the Rhode Island League of Cities and Towns. Now it's 3 times a week, but we're in conversation with them multiple times a day. So, and the same with the governor's office. There is so I'm just going to reel it back for a second and then lead into the COVID-19 test site.
Okay.
There has been communication over the last 2 months between all the municipalities across the state and the governor's office on a daily basis. Our days are 99% consumed with COVID-19. Adjustments we've had to make, precautions we've had to put in place, and this is something that's still ongoing because the trickle-down effect from this has an effect on many, many things, things that you just would never have thought of. As things, tended to seem to be getting worse across the country and across the state, we found that it was important as a public safety team here in Woonsocket that we work to make certain that there was a test site here in Woonsocket. In order to have a test site, you have to partner with an entity in the medical field. So that would be Thunder Mist or Landmark for Woonsocket, or some type of agency that has that link to the medical side. And Thunder Mist was willing to step up and be that partner. The governor wanted to expand and have as many sites across the state as possible. A site really looks very, very simple with some tents, some cones, some signs, a few chairs, and a few tables. So Deputy Chief Perot from the fire department and Captain Pickard from the police department are the 2-point people from the police and fire side, working with, obviously, Director Gillette and Chief Walsh, Chief Chatraw, Chief Oates. So it's a full team from the public safety side. But those 2 first individuals that I mentioned, Perot and Pickard, they went to other sites across the state to get an idea of how the entire process works and what it encompasses. And as they reported back to us, they said it's much more in-depth than meets the eye. And from that point on, we began working with the Rhode Island Department of Health, the Governor's Office, Thunder Mist, and the public safety team here. And we are at the point where there is a testing site in Woonsocket, as you mentioned. It's at 450 Clinton Street. You do not have to be a patient of Thunder Mist to go there. However, you do have to make an appointment. If for some reason you do not have health coverage, there is no out-of-pocket cost if you don't have health coverage. They want to be testing anyone who is not feeling well. And as we've learned, some of the symptoms of COVID-19 are maybe different than what we heard at the beginning. But, you know, whether it's fever, cough, shortness of breath, fatigue, muscle aches, runny nose, vomiting, sore throat, headache. So it's a wide variety. So when you think about that, it's not a situation where, you know, a particular symptom leads you to a particular disease, right? In this case, it's a wide range. All the things that you may feel on any given day that you just think, oh, I'm just having a bad day, I've got a little cough, it's allergies, I gained a little weight, so I'm short of breath. But those are signs that you may have COVID-19. And we want to be certain that we're the sixth largest community in the state of Rhode Island. We're not late in setting up a testing site. I know some folks have said, well, you know, we're on the path to a better place, and yes, we are. But there's going to be COVID-19 testing. My guesstimate would be at least throughout the summer.
Okay.
Because we're you know, everyone is very concerned about another surge, and the fact that some people are testing positive but have very minimal symptoms. But if they don't know that they're positive, then they're potentially infecting other people, and the other people who are infected may not be as fortunate and be able to handle it as well. They may, you know, have underlying conditions, and it affects them, you know, in a very serious way. So it's important to identify as many people who are COVID-19 positive as possible.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are they? If you're feeling well, though, you shouldn't be going to get tested. It's only for people that feel some of the symptoms, correct?
At this point in time, at the Thunder Mist facility here on Clinton Street, between Clinton and Social, yes, it is. There is testing that's taking place throughout the state for first responders and healthcare workers, just to have everyone tested, because like I mentioned, there are some people who are testing positive that are really not showing any strong symptoms, and they're in contact with a significant population of people being in the profession that they're in. So I would say we're getting close to have tested 10% of the population in the state of Rhode Island, and there is a level of importance to get the healthcare workers and first responders tested. And now it's not, you know, mandatory, but it's available to them.
When you said, Mayor, that you call for an appointment, you'd be calling Thunder Mist for an appointment, correct?
Right. So you'd call 767-4100, 767-4100, and then you would press prompt number 2.
Good. Thank you.
Now, it could. I just want to mention, because as we all know, the lines can be very busy. So they did inform us that they are offering a callback, like what you hear when you call maybe like Verizon or National Grid or something. Or your credit card, whatever it may be, if the lines are extremely busy, instead of making you wait, there is a callback option where they will call you. But it's 767-4100, prompt number 2.
What are the hours that they're running the testing on at Thunder Mist on Clinton Street?
You know, I do know that, and it slipped my mind. I'm sorry, I can't recall that.
Okay, I was just curious. Do you know how many people have gone to be tested over there on Clinton Street? Are they seeing a lot, getting a lot of appointments?
I don't know. We actually have a conference call this morning, I think at 10 o'clock. But I do know that I believe their capacity is 173 a day. So they can test up to, about 170 people a day.
Okay. So once again, the number at Thunder Mist, 767-4100, prompt number 2 to get your appointment to be tested, if you want to be tested for COVID-19 at Thunder Mist. We're going to take a break here in the Coffee and program. So, Bob, it's time for a second message from your law office, please.
Thank you. Good morning. A few minutes ago, I told you about services offered by the Rhode Island Legal Services, Inc. to assist individuals secure entitlement and receipt of pandemic-related food benefits granted to children who get free or reduced price lunches in Rhode Island schools. As you may imagine, recommending individuals consult with another attorney doesn't bring a whole lot of business through my door. I'd like to tell you this morning about the legal services available at my office, located in that vividly purple-colored building on Blackstone Street in Woonsocket. I've been engaged in the practice of law for more than 47 years, and during the last few years have corralled a formerly wide practice into an intensive practice in the areas of real estate issues, including landlord-tenant litigation, as well as sale, estate planning, including not only last will and testaments, but also the creation of trusts aimed at protecting assets during one's lifetime, as well as protecting the assets from the claims of creditors after one's death, and the area of divorce and family law. While during the COVID-19 pandemic, my office is respectively declining face-to-face or mask-to-mask conferences, much of our interviews can take place over the telephone. If you think my office may be of assistance to you in these or other legal matters, please call my office for a telephone conference. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer: the Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
All right, Bob, thank you very much. And the Coffee and program will continue on ON Radio. Comments and questions for the mayor called in at 766-1240.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. I'm a better neighbor because my service has taught me how important it is to be a team player. My training helps me in my classes when I give attention to detail to the task at hand. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my country safe from threats. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Rhode Island Army National Guard. Aired by the Rhode Island Broadcasters Association and this station.
When you're ill and need same-day care, remember North Smithfield Urgent Care and Lincoln Urgent Care for affordable and accessible care. You'll always be seen by a board-certified physician who will assess the problem and make you feel safe and reassured. Check their websites for convenient patient and medical forms, which you may fill out before the visit. North Smithfield Urgent Care, 594 Great Road, North Smithfield, 768-3400. And Lincoln Urgent Care, 2 Wake Robin Road, Lincoln, 333-9595.
Do you remember the 20th century? If you do, you should be listening to Do You Remember weekday mornings on ON Radio. Hi, everyone. This is John W., and you know what they say? If you don't use it, you lose it. So share your memories with me and your friends Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. That's the Do You Remember program right here and only on ON, AM, and FM radio.
Coffee and on ON, and this is Joe Callahan here with Bob Lauder and Woonsocket Mayor Lisa Baldelli Hunt. Thank you for joining us this morning. And Mayor, are you in contact? I know you are, but how are things going over at Landmark Medical Center? You must be in contact with them at least every other day, if not every day. Ooh, do we have the mayor? Bob, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Bob's still there.
Hello?
There she is. Okay. Mayor, did you hear the question?
Yes, about Landmark?
About Landmark. How? What do you hear over there?
Landmark is clearly a partner with our public safety team here, and well, they're a partner, community partner within our city, just in general. But we have developed a very strong working partnership during this COVID-19 situation, and we have contact with Landmark on a daily basis, whether it's the Director of Public Safety, the Fire Chief, my office. So we have been working in conjunction with them. Again, another team effort. We want to make certain that we're in contact not only with Landmark and not only with Thunder Mist for the COVID test site, but also with the nursing homes. So this has become one big family, and we want to make certain that everyone has PPE, everyone is helping each other. It really is, and I'm glad you brought this up, because in normal, I guess, quote-unquote normal time, you're not having this contact with folks as often because everybody is, taking care of business, doing what they need to do within the entity that they represent. Then comes a time like this, which is obviously few and far between, and you see so much good in so many people, and how everyone really rises to the occasion, and you recognize how much you can get done together, and then there's the ancillary folks who step up, who are not in the field, so to speak, of healthcare or government, but they see what's happening within their community, and they recognize that there's something that they can do to help. They don't have to do it, but they're good quality people who decide that they want to contribute somehow, some way, and do something to benefit. And we've had that situation within the city, and I know, when I'm on the radio, I try to always, talk about, the last time we talked about healthcare workers and first responders from police and fire, and then you have the constituency within the city, and we have a lovely woman in Woonsocket. Her name is Emily. She's a retired nurse, and she and two of her neighbors have been getting together, and they've been taking material and elastic, and they've been making masks, and we've been distributing the masks that they're making. They're doing an amazing job. It's so heartwarming, and so it tells you what kind of a community you live in. I always say, yes, we're an urban city, and urban communities are usually, there's like a large disconnect, but we have this suburban flair to our urban community. And Emily is a retired nurse, and she just decided, you know what, I want to be a part of this, and I want to help in any way that I can. And it's such a sweet thing to do, and it shows you that everybody has something to offer, and everyone can approach this in a positive way and contribute something if you have the time to do it. And this is what she's done, and I just want to say thank you to her, and thank you to her two neighbors, Jean and Sue, and they have that sewing machine out, and they're stitching away, and we have a lovely person in City Hall, Jen. She's doing the same thing. She's stitching up those masks, and we're distributing them. So it's really nice.
That's great to hear, and I also like hearing, the restaurants that step up and feed the doctors and the nurses at Landmark, or they send food over to the fire department, or they send food over to the police department, in such challenging times when they donate the food for free, and who knows if they're going to make that money back in sales to the public.
Right, and this is what I mean. So there are people who, even like you say, the restaurant industry that is struggling. They're really struggling, but they're recognizing the importance of the healthcare workers or of the public safety officials. And speaking of public safety officials, I think there's an entity of folks that we very seldom speak about, and I've really been thinking about them quite a bit lately because I saw something on the news regarding an incident in Massachusetts where the inmate just went into like an attack mode, and there was some upheaval over there. And we don't often think of our ACI guards and the fact that they have a significant population there and they have challenges there. And, you know, they're in law enforcement also. So, you know, congratulations to the ACI guards who are out there doing what they need to do, because certainly there's, you know, they're not COVID-free.
Nope, not at all. One thing I wanted to bring up as well, it looks like, Mayor, you were 1 week ahead of the governor in thinking about, you know, the restaurant should have outside dining now that the warmer weather is coming.
I agree.
and I know you put it up with the or you got a hold of Dan Jenrin, the president of the Woonsocket City Council, said let's make this an ordinance, and it was voted 7-0 on the first passage that we'll have it, and they're going to vote again this Monday. But the governor came in and said, okay, yeah, we can have open outside dining at the restaurants if they're capable of doing it, and of course they have all the different mandates that you got to adhere to. But I think it's a good move to allow the restaurants to do this if the weather holds out, of course, and hopefully people will come out and partake of some of the restaurants that have the outside dining.
I hope so. I recognize that there are some restaurants who do not want to invest in what it's not easy. You just don't say, okay, outdoor dining, throw a table out there. Right, there are a lot of rules and regulations that the state has in place in order for them to do that. Some find it's more than what they want to take on right now, so they're waiting for the next level of the phase to see how they want to move forward, and I can understand that. But as elected officials and as the mayor of the city, I find that we need to work and do whatever we can in order to give them the tools that they need to try to create some semblance of their restaurant industry.
I brought this up yesterday, Mayor, and I'll bring it up to you as well. Is it possible for the city to put some like picnic tables at River Island Park? And because I bring that up because then you could have the restaurants that like Yield English and maybe River Falls and the people that are working out of the Mill Race Kitchen could get takeout and then just walk over to River Island Park. It's a short walk, and then eat at the picnic tables.
Well, going back to the I know your initial when you broached this initially, speaking of the executive order and then the council voting on the ordinance. I'm working on another executive order pertaining to restaurants, and that will be finalized today. But going along the lines of what you're saying, the importance of being able to take River Falls, Christopher's, Mill Race, Yield English, and we are fortunate. We have the space within our Market Square area for their customers to spill out into the parking lot and into the streets in order to sit. Now, if we don't try it, we don't know if it'll work.
Right.
You can talk about it. You can wonder, would it have worked? Would it not? Maybe it would work. Maybe it wouldn't work, right? But at least if we give them the opportunity to do that, we can see if it does work. You can always tweak things. You can always make adjustments to it. But, the only good part of us, like many other cities and towns across the country, not having a extremely busy main street is we can block off part of our street. We can block off, some of the area of the parking lot in order to allow the seating that they would need with the distance that they need. So that executive order will be finalized today. I will be issuing it. I am hopeful. I have had some conversation with one of the council members. We're going to continue that conversation today. And I am hopeful that the council will be receptive to it. It will be for 2 weekends. It'll be for next weekend and the next 2 weekends up to Memorial Day. So it is a total of like 5 days, Friday and Saturday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday because of Memorial Day. So we're finalizing that language. The planning department has been in conversation with the restaurants in the area to see if they are receptive to it, and so yes. So I'm glad that you like that idea, and I'm hopeful that others do too.
All right, Bob, have you had a chance to drive through Monument Square and take a look at what the city has done with that new parking lot right across the street from the Stadium Theater.
That's positively amazing.
Isn't it?
You've taken an area that was not being used very effectively and leveled the whole thing out, covering it with macadam. It's going to really increase the parking for the stadium and all of Main Street. I'm very impressed, especially since you're doing it during the COVID-19, and I guess workers can sort of self-isolate by being more than 6 feet away from each other, and the work is getting done well. Yeah.
I've only been able to see pictures of it because I'm stuck up here in Massachusetts, but I do look forward to seeing it in person. But Mayor, the city did a great job opening up that parking lot.
Well, Bob, you're right. That lot was not used effectively. It was not utilized in a fashion that we could capitalize on the space. It's important. It's in our downtown area, and they have done an amazing job. The Public Works team has done a phenomenal job. I say it all the time. People are probably tired of hearing me say it, but I truly believe I have the best Public Works director in the state of Rhode Island. He is extremely talented. He has brought his skills to that department, and he has helped employees within the city to learn a trade that prior to him coming on, they were not, trained in that area. They're proud of their work. The residents recognize the great job that they're doing. I recognize that. And when you see the end product of the sites that they're on, it speaks for itself. I mean, this is a project that it's not just the repaving, we're going to repave a parking lot. It's like you can't minimize that. This is a massive piece of land that will allow people visiting our downtown area and our stadium theater to be able who has a parking lot across from their theater, right? We go to a theater, we're paying $25, $30 to park our car to go see a show.
Yeah. And I'm wondering how many people that have been residents of Woonsocket and have now driven by it and said, I never knew that was there.
Yeah, you didn't realize how deep it went, how wide it is, and how much of a great asset that is to the downtown.
So fantastic, and I'm very happy that the city has taken care of that. And as soon as the stadium gets to reopen, I'm sure the patrons are going to be very happy with that as well.
Well, when the patrons show up and they